Hi, and welcome to this introduction to the Bettermaker EQ502P. Seen here in the rightmost pair of slots of this 500 series rack, the 502P provides stereo or dual mono passive EQ in the classic Pultec style, with a pristine, fully analog signal path. But like all Bettermaker units, it also has a totally separate digital control system, allowing you to save and recall up to 400 internal presets, or to control the unit remotely via the USB input, with a plug-in available in all the usual formats that can save your settings within your project and automate any of the EQ parameters. Controlling the unit remotely might also allow you to tweak parameters without moving from your optimal listening position. And if you plan to use the unit exclusively this way, you can choose the remote version instead, with no front panel controls. The sound of the unit is sublime. Like the classic Pultec, we have a low shelving band which can boost and cut simultaneously, a parametric boost for the upper mid-range or treble, and a super gentle high shelving cut. The cumulative effect can be subtle or dramatic, as with this song that was mixed through the unit. And the EQ remains remarkably transparent and natural sounding, even with extreme settings. Let's take a look at the controls, starting with the low shelf boost at the bottom right. The knob is velocity sensitive, so I can spin it fast to dial in a healthy boost, or turn it slower to fine-tune my settings. A pair of buttons over to the left allow us to tune the turnover frequency, with a choice of 4 settings. At the higher 60 Hz or 100 Hz settings, the gentle low shelf curve extends well into the bass frequencies, while the lower 30 Hz or 20 Hz settings focus the boost on the sub-bass region, and are great for adding weight to kick drums, or indeed full mixes like this one. Okay, let's wind the boost back to 0 and dial in some cut instead. This thins out the mix, as you would expect. And again, we can tune the cut frequency up or down using the buttons above. However, things get really interesting when you cut and boost at the same time. Actually, the original Pultec manual specifically warns against doing this. But ignoring that warning has shaped the history of recording. If I boost and cut by about the same amount, the resulting EQ shape is actually incredibly useful. We still have a low shelving boost at the bottom, but this is tempered by a cut a little higher up, which reduces boxiness or muddiness. And I can now switch the frequency of the low band to shift this whole shape higher or lower, till I find the best setting for the mix. Even a fairly gentle boost, tempered by an equally gentle cut, can have a magical effect on the bottom end of a mix, bringing extra depth and weight, while simultaneously clearing out the mud. Okay, let's dial in some high frequency boost. This band has a peaking response rather than a shelf, and we can tune it to 7 different frequencies, from 3 kHz up to 16 kHz. The lower settings are great for adding clarity, or to bring out the snap of your drums. But notice we can also adjust the bandwidth of this boost by toggling through the 4 different settings to the right. The first is the narrowest and sharpest, and each higher setting becomes progressively wider. Perhaps surprisingly, the amount of boost also reduces with higher settings, but this tends to preserve the overall energy in the band, and in practice feels very musical and intuitive to use. Tuning the frequency to the highest 16 kHz setting produces a lovely air boost, and I can set the bandwidth to determine how far down the spectrum my boost extends. However, in this case, I'm going to go a little lower and add some crispness and sizzle to the mix with the 10 kHz band. Okay, finally we have a high shelving cut, with a choice of 3 frequencies, and a very gentle and transparent slope. Taming the high end of a mix with this band can produce a warm, vintage character. So far we've been running in stereo linked mode, with left and right channels sharing a single set of controls. But if I press the stereo link button, I can split the channels, and this button now toggles between separate settings for the left and right channels. Or for two separate mono channels if you wish. Pultec style EQ is famously awesome for kick drum, for example. The low-end cut and boost trick adds weight and depth, while simultaneously cleaning out the mid-range and tightening up the sound. And you can use the high boost to bring out the clicky attack for more impact. And the high shelf cut for a rounder, warmer sound, or to tame the excessive high end you sometimes get from condenser mics designed to be placed inside the kick drum. If I switch to channel 2, I can use that for something else, such as a vocal. And if I'm using the plug-in controller, I can split the interface to show settings for both channels at once. When I'm happy with the sound, I can save my settings using the preset management at the bottom, and print those two parts. And I'm then free to reuse the EQ for my drum bus, or my mix bus. Press and hold the channel select button to link the channels in stereo again. The 502P is equivalent to the Pultec section from the rack mount EQ502P Mark II. If you combine it with the EQ502, you can recreate most of the same feature set as the larger rack unit. If you add the C502V compressor as well, you have an incredibly powerful and versatile analog mixing or mastering setup in convenient and portable 500 series format, with full digital control of all parameters. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.